welcome to the whatever episode this is of the Serenity Knitting Society podcast. My name's Alex. I've just tried to tell you 4 times where we're located, but we're a knitting podcast based out of Australia. I'm on the north coast of New South Wales, and this is a knitting podcast. Yay! Okay, that was good. I've done it like 3 times, and at one point I think I might have said that I was on the north coast of Australia. I'm not. I just haven't had the coffee yet. How are we, friends? Gosh, my glasses are dirty. Let's clean them real quick. I'm not starting it again. We're all friends here. And if we haven't met before, welcome. You're now a friend. Come on in. I really wanted to do a podcast today, mostly because I have a lot of things to do today that are not super fun. And I actually just really wanted something fun and lighthearted in there. And, oh, there's fluff on here already. And I thought, you know what? Let's film. Let's sit down, talk about some knitting, have some pretty things, and then, you know, get the other stuff done that I need to do today. So that's the plan. I have heaps of stuff. So we're going to dive straight into it. What I'm wearing, I won't go into too much detail because none of these are new. They're all in previous episodes, so feel free to check them out. I'm wearing my Lento sweater. Oh, there's some fluff. I'm wearing my Lento sweater. This is probably my most worn knit. I wear this all the time. I wear it for like snuggling around at home. I can wear it with like a nicer something and some jeans to go out in the world. It's knit in the Rauma. Oh, I have a project page for it, and I'll put it below. But it's like a fluffy alpaca yarn, Rauma, which was Alpakka Lin. That's what it is. Good job, brain. Which was generously. I meant to say genuinely. No. Generously, but also genuinely, gifted to me by the gorgeous Catherine of A Bed of Roses a couple of years ago now, I think, and I held it with, you can use it alone, it's beautiful, but I held it with Biches, Le Petit Lambswool in, I'm gonna cough, not the colorway name, in like light grey. And it's made the most beautiful fabric. I would 100% use this combination again. And you know what? It's worn up very well. I wear this all the time. I'm not precious with it. I have some left over, so I think I am going to, like, there's a little bit under the arms that feels like it's like a little bit, maybe more fragile where the armhole pickup stitches is. So I might do some slight reinforcements there soon. But really, I have worn the shit out of this. And it's beautiful. The fabric is beautiful. Really nice. I'm wearing a black top underneath it, so you can really see. It looks like it's see-through. It's not actually. It's just because I've got a really dark black top underneath it. But it looks more holy on the screen than it does in person. It's like the whole thing just plumps up, and I actually really love. I've used the Biches Le Petit Lambswool quite a lot, and I really love it because it's very, very fine. Like, I would almost say a light fingering weight when you use it, but it does plump up quite significantly. And I have an entire sweater that's just knit in that held single, and it's lovely. It's lovely. So it's not as thick as, say, like a Rauma Final, which is my favorite like rusticy fingering weight yarn. I love Rauma Final. I would like to knit with that more. I should probably place an order for that because it's so beautiful. I'd love to knit a colourwork sweater in that. I've been looking at maybe the, I've downloaded the pattern ages ago for a Birkin sweater, because y'all know I love flowers and I love them, they're so pretty. So I downloaded that a long time ago, and I think that would be stunning. I also think that the Alpine Bloom, see, Rauma Final is technically a sport weight, but I have used it with fingering weight patterns with no issues. So but it would also be beautiful for the Autumn Alpine Bloom sweater, which is a Boylan Knit Works. I really want to knit a colourwork sweater. I really want to say, this is like really fun too, because it's like I'm trying to stay on track. Be like, oh, we'll just do we'll go through this quickly, 6 tangents later. Anyway, that's what happens when you have coffee with friends, hey? But where was I going with that? Oh yeah, thank you for everyone who had such lovely comments in the last video. I do read all of them, and I make a real effort to respond to every single one. So I'm sure I occasionally miss some, but I really try and make an effort, because I know that when I comment on someone, like we're talking, right? So I really like to be able to respond, you know, as much as I can. And a lot of people made some comments about knitting colourwork. I had some trepidation in doing so much work for a colourwork sweater that I then wouldn't wear because I didn't feel comfortable in it, on my body shape, size, just the things that I like wearing. And like, first of all, I love that message, and it's the same message I would give to everyone else. Knit whatever the fuck you want. Like, if you want to knit a colourwork sweater, knit it, wear it, love it. Like, I love that conversation that just because something is not societally deemed flattering, what is that anyway? Do you know what I mean? And I remember, I think I said this in the last video, so I don't want to repeat myself too much, but I think it was Jacqueline Sislak that really talked about that concept of flattering being, it's like what other people like to see on me. So it's visually pleasing to the other person. I'm pretty sure, I hope it was her, and if it's not, then I'm sorry, don't quote me. But it was that, it really challenged my thinking about this concept of flattering being a positive thing. And it was like, you know, that concept of, am I wearing it because I like the way it looks and it feels comfortable and good on me? Or am I wearing it because of how I am wanting someone else, or like how someone else, for someone else's pleasure of perceiving me? Does that make sense? Anyway, little, you know, I don't know, layered, metaphysical for this morning, but it's only like 8 o'clock in the morning for me. So I'm still having this is my second coffee, if I'm really honest, but it normally takes a couple for me to really get online. Anyway, I want to knit one. And I want to knit, because everyone also said, like, think about the scale, think about the contrast, and think about the type of pattern. And I think what would be really, I want flowers. I really loved the Autumn Alpine Bloom hat, and I think that could be beautiful in a sweater. And I do think if it was a lower contrast, that would also probably help me to feel a bit more comfortable in it. And same with I think the Birkin could be a really nice one. I think it's got a really nice, there's a delicateness to the colour work in that, which I am fond of. Anyway, all that to say, I like Biches Buches. The Petit Lambswool. I would knit with it a lot again, and that was in this sweater, the Lento. Look at me, circling back around. I'm a little soggy. I went for a walk this morning on the beach, and it poured, like the heavens opened, and I was sopping wet, and it was hilarious and beautiful and wonderful, but I am a wee bit soggy, so I have an Elsa braid. I need a haircut, but I also don't want one, because otherwise I probably would struggle to put it in my Elsa braid, and I want to be able to let it go and strive into the unknown and all that other stuff. On the off chance you're not familiar with Elsa from Frozen, I'm going to assume you are. I watched that movie more times than I care to admit alone. I actually love the second. I love the second Frozen. There's something, if you've seen it, I should knit something for it, because there's something, I don't know what it is. The first one was lovely, don't get me wrong, but I watched it a lot of times when I was caring for children, so I've kind of, it's expired for me, you know what I mean? Like, it's, I know that thing way too well. The second one, though, there's something that happens, there's this bit in the second one, and I don't know, it just touches something in my soul. I feel like there's this bit in the second one where Elsa, who is like one of the main characters, she like wrangles this horse out of the sea, and she's like she's riding this horse across the sea on the way to like the magical river, like the ice glacial river. And there's something about the music and I just cry every time. Every fucking time I will cry. There's something in it that just speaks to me. And yeah, I watched it the other day again because I just really needed like nothing intense, something visually beautiful, some fun songs with snowmen. And God, it was lovely. I just need that sometimes. I love a good kids film. Actually, I watched Cinderella last night too. I've been watching a lot of kids films, or like children, not, I shouldn't say kids films because they're not for, you know, like they are for children, but they're just like fairy tales, and I love them. I have a real love of mythology and archetypes, and if you haven't watched before, like a lot of my knits are archetypal based. I just love all of that, and I also, I work as a psychotherapist, and so a lot of my life is looking at kind of layers of meaning and yeah. So it all just, and so fairy tales and mythology come into that a lot. Anyway, I'm sure I'll talk more about that at some point. The other thing I'm wearing, this is I'm pretty sure it's my, I think it's called the Colour Craze shawl. Oh look, I'll take it off. I'll never be able to, I'll be cold, but I'll take it off and show you. It's beautiful. I've got it in another episode. I really love it. I don't actually wear it as much as I wish I did. I need to work on that. Now, I won't be able to tell you all of the colours in here because I don't know them all. I know that there's the colours themselves are from a kit from Homespun House. I think it's the flower mini set is from memory, and then the white colour is actually a colourway called Old Man's Beard from don't tell me, not you can. I know who it is. Glenheaven Knits, which is a Australian-based hand-dyed company. I bought this and I think I bought it at a my only ever attended. Oh, that's not true. I went to one in Bologna. My only Australian attended yarn show, which was on the Central Coast, and that was quite a few years ago. I have every intention of trying to get to an Australian yarn festival at some point, but it seems to be that I keep going to the ones that are overseas. I held it with a mohair. So I held everything, it's fingering with a mohair. There's brioche panels, fucking love those. It's just fun. It's probably the only multicolored thing that I have knit that I wear consistently, and I do love it. And I think it's because it's got a really cohesive palette, and yeah, it's one of my reasons that I love like a plain, like a grey sweater, because then I feel like it's easy for me to throw on something coloured. All right. Let's do this. Let's keep this show on the road. I have every intention of, oh, bollocks. I just bought these beautiful new bamboo tops, and I've just seen that there's like a little stain on this one. I don't understand how that's happened, which is very annoying because it's brand new and not cheap. Anyway, not what you're all here for. But what you are here for is knitting. So I have a lot of finished objects. Now I can't remember if I've already shown you this first one. I'm going to show you again, just in case, because it's so beautiful anyway that fuck it, who cares? If I have shown it to you before, it's okay. I make no apologies. Well, maybe I do a little bit. This is my completely finished Easy Like Sunday Morning sweater. Oh. Guys, look. Fuck, this is a nice sweater. I'm extra sweary today. Just as an FYI, maybe pop some headphones in if you've got tiny people. This is knit in, maybe I did finish this. Anyway, I can't remember if I've shown it before. This is knit in Easy Like Sunday Morning, no. Wait, is that what it's called? It's called Sunday Morning. Sunday Morning DK. There we go. It's kicking in. My brain, sometimes I feel like my brain's like a file cabinet. It's like ding, 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 ding. Found it. And I've got a little pull there. Anyway, Easy Like Sunday Morning DK is what it's called. I just automatically start saying it. Easy Like Sunday Morning DK and Halo, which is the mohair. So the Sunday Morning DK, look at me, I got it that time, is a, I can't tell you what the combination is. It's beautiful. I know there's Massim in there. It's beautiful. I love it a lot. And then the mohair. This is my favourite mohair I've ever used, easily. Although I must admit I've got a very close contender that I bought that I'll tell you about today. That's an Australian. I bought it from Australia. So this is from Sonder Yarn Co, if I haven't said that already, which is my current Desert Island yarn brand. If I was only allowed to use one yarn brand for the rest of my life and I had to like pick it right now at gunpoint, that would be it. No questions asked. I have a lot of other yarns that I love, but I do, everything I have tried from Sonder has been the most incredible quality. The colorways are gorgeous. The finished products are amazing. Like, I have no complaints. I have none, zero. So what I probably was up to is I may or may not have finished the sleeves and I may or may not have finished the body. I can't remember what I was done with. I know what I did do for sure, which I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have done last time, is I did put some elastic in the neckline and I am happy with that. What I did notice is that I have plenty of this left. I bought the size 5 kit and I knit the size 3. This has nothing to do with Sonder's instructions or measurements. It has a lot more to do with my shifting body size and slight but significant body dysmorphia, where I don't know what size I am. So I'm kind of in this weird trial and error period where I'm knitting anywhere between like what normally is around a size 6 in a pattern, but I really probably need a size 3. So that's been really fun and irritating. But we're working it out. If all else fails, there's lots of ease. I've got way less ease and I have to, I'm sorry, Jackie, I didn't send you the ease that I have for this, even though you asked, and I will go and do that today. And when I say today, I mean like, I really hope that I remember to do that for you today. I'm going to do it straight after this. I have less ease than is recommended. There is a slight chance that at some point I actually might add some length to the sleeves and to the body. I have heaps of yarn left over, and like I said, not to the fault of Sonder, but because of how I decided to knit the pattern. I knit it to pattern other than I had a slightly less gauge than suggested. I like that on me. I think it suits me really nicely, although I'd be happy to make one at a larger gauge again. Like, I would definitely make another one of these. They're gorgeous. I was concerned about the neckline again with my big bust. I thought it might be too chunky, too much up the top. Nah, totally fine. And I think that partially is because it's a little bit shorter. I might extend it a wee bit. I just think that because when I actually put in the elastic for the neckline, naturally it cinched it in a little bit, and that did kind of bring the sleeves are kind of like really like full length, but that's it. And the body, there's a little bit where you could probably see, if you're wearing like a shirt underneath, you can see the shirt, and that's fine. I'm just kind of wearing it and seeing how it goes because I really like it the way it is. But I also want it to be something that I throw on, I don't have to fuss with, that it's just fucking perfect. Because at the time that I purchased this, it was actually not available to order Sonder yarn to Australia. And the beautiful Jackie of To Knit a Good Yarn podcast was kind enough to let me send it to her, and then she sent it to me. So it like traveled around the world. You now can order directly to Australia. Understandably, and I say this with full respect for why this is the case, understandably the shipping is expensive because it's tracked, and I completely respect the fact that in order for that company to be able to like make sure that their product is going to get to us safely all the way on the other side of the world, that their responsibility is to make it tracked, and that also means it's very expensive to ship it. So I think it's totally worth it, and I'm pretty sure that my birthday's in September, so we've got some time. But my birthday purchase will probably be from Sonder, and I'm happy just to pay the shipping because it's beautiful yarn, and if that's the way that they feel like they can safely internationally ship, I'm cool with it. And it's expensive, so I think it's just the way the cookie crumbles. It's not a criticism, it's just me informing you. But the fabric is just like you would not believe. I mean, you would probably, and I really love the 2x2 rib. God, that's beautiful. So yeah, look, I like a sleeve that does come kind of like, ooh, how can I show you? Like mid-hand. I like it a bit snuggly. I don't want to have to fuss around with it. I've worn this a few times and I haven't had any major issues now that I've blocked it. I'm going to keep wearing it, but I don't rule out the fact that I might just add a little bit of length here or there. But it's fucking beautiful. I do think that it would be lovely because it's a nice big gauge. It's totally fine. I wear a white shirt underneath it if I'm going to wear something underneath it. I do like the idea that I might knit one in a darker colour. And that's something to consider for yourself, that if you wear dark colours underneath things, that if you wear a lighter colour at a big gauge, like with this one, you can kind of see underneath it. It's not that the fabric's particularly see-through or anything. It's just that you're going to see the dark colour through it. And this colour is, I didn't even tell you, Bubble Bath. It's beautiful. And I believe that the mohair is in Grand Ballet. I can't speak French. Je suis désolée. I can't speak French. Okay. Sometimes I'm like, is that the end? Is that all I have to say on that? I love it. I do love it. And I mean, it is like, I had someone actually ask me about this the other day, a really good friend of mine, and she goes, oh my God, where did you get that sweater? And I was like, oh, thanks, I just finished it. And she went, you are joking you made that. And like, she knows I knit. But she was like, I was thinking that was like a $400 sweater from like a really fancy Bangalow boutique. And I'm like, it probably, I mean, it wasn't $400, but it's like, you know what it's like when you buy a mohair and a mohair and anything held double can sometimes be a more expensive knit. But for me, that was just my, like, it's beautiful. And I think of it as like my little Canadian Jackie sweater because I know that like her love was kind of put in it. So it's nice to be wrapped up in it. And it's super, like that neckline is so chic. So I'm not ruling out adding a little bit of length to it if required. And I'm just going to let myself wear it for a bit and see how it goes. Okay. Yay! So if I'd already shown you that before, you're going to be sitting there going, great, well that was just 5 minutes of content I already watched, but I love it so much. I wanted to make sure. Okay, so something I'm super excited about. Like I cannot tell you how fucking excited I am about this project because it's been a real effort, if I'm honest with you. This one has been like an uphill struggle. I don't know. It's been like a full round the world experience with this. And so this is my, it's my seafoam green sweater. Now I'm just showing you so you know which one I'm talking about, right? But I'm going to show you the full thing in a minute because what I want to give you the backstory of, and I am excited to tell you this if you can't tell, is that, you know, when you've got a project that you're kind of like, this is just not fucking working. And now that I'm saying this to you, I have had this be a kind of theme for me this last year, where there have been a couple of sweaters, like my GL sweater, which I showed you last time, that have just, for whatever reason, the flow has not been there. And I want to like self-will it into like doing what I want it to do, but it's just not working and I can't get it to work. And the harder I try, the more complicated it gets. And I think I'm learning something about that knitting practice. And really it's teaching me about life, right? The more that I try and force it, think about it, work it out, cognize it, when that is in resistance to the actual flow and truth and like moment of where I am, it's just a fucking mess. And if that's not like a full-on life truth for me, I don't know what is, right? So this sweater, I bought the yarn for this sweater. It was like it was my last week in Italy. I had been to a whole bunch of yarn shops. So I was part of the Bologna yarn crawl, which was amazing. I've been meaning to show you this. I was going to do a whole video on it and I still might. If you want me to do a whole video of like where I went in Europe, what I bought at each shop, like the whole shebang, like it could be really long, but if you're really interested in hearing what happened, I kind of, I started doing it and then I started second guessing myself if anyone would find it really interesting. Like it's been over 6 months. If you're interested in hearing about how I traveled around Europe, the yarn stores I went to, like a play-by-play, I'm so happy to do it. I'm just not sure if anyone's that interested. So if you are, pop it down below. I'll do it. If you want it, I'll deliver. I can't promise the time frame, but I'll do it. Anyway, I didn't buy this. I actually won it. So I was in, I hope that's the right way around for you, because it's backwards for me. But if for some reason it's not, it says Bologna Yarn Crawl, and it does say in Italian that it's the 18th of May, but it was actually, they postponed it till September. So I went to the Bologna Yarn Crawl on my 30th birthday, which is the 23rd of September. And that was possibly the most magical, one of the most magical experiences of my life. I have been married, so that one's pretty up there too. But I'm just joking, I'm being cheeky. But it was for me as a sole human being without another person involved, it was like, I cannot even describe to you what it was like to fulfill like a life dream on such an important day. And everyone was like, that's so sad, you're going to be by yourself for your birthday. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm going to be by myself in Italy at a yarn crawl on my birthday. Oh, yep, you know what? Just devastating. Like, I quite like my own company. If you haven't been able to tell from me being able to talk to you just for an hour, like I'm quite comfortable in my own skin. And I actually didn't end up spending it alone. I ended up spending it with the girls from Wooldan and Francesca from the Italian Knitter. Like, I was pretty surrounded by delightful humans. I had the lovely girl that I was living with who was really sweet too. They ended up taking me out for my birthday, so I was definitely not alone. I was very surrounded by beautiful Italians. And long story short, well, not really, it's not short. There's going to be way more of this story. But I, having been part of the yarn crawl, I didn't know this at the time, but there was a part when you post into it and you like tag the thing, and that automatically entered you into a giveaway for the yarn crawl, and I fucking won, which was pretty exciting. So the gorgeous girls, Julia and Ivana from Wooldan, which I visited on the day, sent me this gorgeous mug, which I have been using non-stop, and I've had it here clean. So I actually haven't used it for the last few weeks because I've had it here clean to make sure I can show you. But it's one of my favorite cups for very specifically herbal tea. I don't know what it is, but it is a beautiful mug. And they were kind enough to send it to me while I was still in Italy so I could bring it home. Anyway, on this day when I was there, I didn't manage to get to another yarn shop that was in Bologna, which if I can find the name for it, I'll Google it because I remember where it was. I'll put it down below. But they also had, because I bought some things when I was at Wooldan, and this is why that's why it could be useful to go through and talk about each individual yarn store, because let's say hypothetically you're in Europe and you want to know where to go. Wooldan was like tricky to find, but I was with an Italian, so that did help a little bit, but I would have found it. You know, Google Maps is pretty good. I managed to find a whole bunch of strange places. But they had a beautiful selection of yarns, and I bought some absolutely gorgeous Italian yarns from there. And I had a few things that I wish I bought more of, if I'm honest. I've got one that I think when I go back, I'm planning to go back in September, and hopefully also visit Scotland, although I'll tell you about that in a minute. Or maybe in a few minutes, we'll see. There's one particular Italian yarn called nocciola, which means hazelnut, which I think I would like a sweater in, because Christ, that's gorgeous. Anyway, I may or may not show that to you at another point. I have so many things from that trip that I feel a bit overwhelmed trying to put everything in one video, so I feel like I'm just kind of like teasing you with them, and then if you want something in one video, I'll do it. So, in my last week, I went back to Bologna. I went back to this one, and it was like in a really random neighborhood, like it was really, sometimes in Bologna I found myself in some really odd places where I was like, I don't know if I should be here. But anyway, this one was a little bit near the train station, about 15-minute walk or so, and they just had like walls and walls and walls of yarn. Like I haven't been to that many yarn stores really. Like my in-person experience is Skein Sisters in Sydney, which is beautiful, gorgeous store. And then there is I've been to Knit Happens in Wollongbar, again, lovely store, but both reasonably small. I mean, Skein Sisters is quite big, but they're kind of like they're a boutique, so they have like walls where it's like hanging, and they have like a really great selection. But this was like wall to wall. Like in Italy, I found that most of the time when I went to these stores, because I went to another one in Florence that was similar, it's like wall to wall boxed compartments of just like more yarn than you've ever seen in your whole life. Well, at least for me, it was insane and a little bit overwhelming sometimes. So I'm wandering through, I'm looking at all the stuff, and I knew that I had like 1 week left. And I was like, okay, I kept seeing this like really chunky mohair yarns, or like some of them were acrylic, but some of them were mohair. And I was like, okay, I think if I got a big enough needle, I could probably knit a really simple sweater in this in a week and just take it home or wear it on the plane. Because that was my big worry, is that if I was to try and get a sweater's quantity, I would have to try and get it in my suitcase and I wouldn't be able to do it. So I was like, okay, cool. If I just get a chunky enough yarn and a big enough needle, it'll be sweet. I can knit it up. So I bought this yarn, and very specifically, I promise I'll show it to you, I promise. I bought this yarn, very specifically I bought it because I fell in love with Verona. I mean, Verona was like the one place in Italy that I knew that I was going to get to hell or high water. Do you know what I mean? Like I watched that, I've watched that really cheesy romantic video, what's it called? Film, it's called Letters to Juliet, 1,000 times. Like that was my teenage binge watch, comfort watch, and I knew I was going to Verona. And I may have already told the story, I can't remember, because someone even asked me the other day, don't you watch back your videos before you post them? And I'm like, absolutely not. Like in the last video, apparently I think I must have told you all to put kittens in the comments if you had watched it. And hilariously, it took me like 2 weeks to realize, maybe not 2 weeks, maybe a few days, to realize that I must have said something like that, because a lot of you were referencing kittens. And I was like, what? My husband was like, don't you watch the videos back? And I'm like, nah, man, I'm just pretty sure I haven't said anything too bad. And I just posted. Like, pretty much the level of authenticity that I'm hoping that it's just like, I'm sitting here talking to you. Sometimes, you know, like, I'm just sitting here talking to you and then I'm just posting it. Like, it's not, there's not a lot of editing going on. I just put the front part and the end part. And I'm pretty confident through the process of the last 32 minutes, I haven't said anything that I don't want on the internet. That's pretty much the extent of my editing process. So you're getting pretty unfiltered, authentic Alexiness. Back to that story. So in Verona, and for me, I just like, it was the most fucking magical day. And if I haven't told the story and you're like, what was the story of Verona and how did it all work? Again, I'm happy to put it in a video, but I'm just concerned that I could be telling you the same story every time, which is not unlike me. So it was amazing. But one of the things that I noticed that I love so much about Italy, which was so different from here, is I'm very nature oriented. But here we have this beautiful, and I think I've talked about it before, we have these beautiful like aqua turquoise oceans, but they're very brilliantly blue. And what I noticed was when I was in Europe, whenever you're in the cities, and it must be something about the way that it must be something about the minerals in the water and the reflection of the sky through the air quality and, you know, the reflections of the buildings. Something happens where the water that you get that kind of, I saw through a lot of the different parts of Italy that I was in, is this kind of colour. It's not blue so much as it is like almost a sea foamy green. And against the oranges and the yellows and the terracottas of the houses, it's just like very specifically Italian water. So I knew that when I saw this colour, I was like, yeah, baby, that's the one. So I bought the yarn, I bought the size needles. Oh, what is that? Oh, apparently I set myself an alarm for something. It may or may not have been for my tax. Anyway, whatever. Guess we'll deal with that later. But where was I going with that? Now I just started thinking about my tax, which is very not interesting. That is one of the things I have to do today. I got like a $3.5 grand bill, and I'm not completely sure that that's correct because, anyway, it might be, but I very much doubt it. Yep, totally lost that train of thought. But anyway, oh yeah, so I bought the thing. I got the needles, and I think I bought a size. I think I bought a size 6 needle. I'm pretty sure, and because that's what it said on the ball band. I spoke to the guy. Now, let's be clear. He spoke pretty good English and I spoke terrible Italian. But between the two of us, he managed to say, yep, this is probably going to be the right one. I started knitting the Felix sweater, which is beautiful, and I have one of, and I definitely want another one. And I got like 75% of the way through the sweater in the week. Like, I powered through it, but I wasn't happy with it. I didn't like the neckline. I didn't really like how it was turning out, but I was just committed to having it done. And I'm really glad that it unfolded the way that it did, because I know I have spoken about this before, so I'm gonna kind of skip through the rest of the story. So I took the balls home, the rest of it. I took the whole thing home. I wasn't happy with it. I didn't like it. It wasn't working. And so what I did was I ripped it back, and I had to like, oh, that's right. So I had most of the body, and then I thought, okay, I'm going to do a sleeve. So I did the sleeve, and the sleeve wasn't working. So I ripped it back, and then I got to the point where I had probably ripped it back and re-knit the sweater, and I had pretty much knitted the entire sweater, you know what I mean? I had knit the entire sweater except for one cuff and one half of a hem. So like, let's say like 98%, maybe not quite, 95% of this sweater. And I tried it on, it was fine, but I was just like, and I ran out of yarn. And I was so sure, I know I told this story last time, so I will skip to the punchline. I was so sure that I had another ball. Anyway, 3 or 4 weeks later, after I put it in a corner and I got the shits with it, I found the other ball. And what I realized was I had made the decision to rip it back, use a bigger needle, and use a different pattern. And the pattern wasn't really a pattern at all, it was just one I was making up. Long, repeated story short, look at this. So the gauge, I ended up using a huge needle. So it was like I think I used a 9mm needle or a 10mm needle. 9. I cast on the bottom edge of each. No, that's not true. Yes, it is. Wait, how did I do this? How did I do this? Fuck, I'm smarter than I thought I was. No. Yeah. I'm hoping that you're not sitting there going, all right, she's cracked, she's lost it. I'll explain why I'm having this little brain moment. So what I must have done, wow, I am smarter than I thought I was. This is really interesting. Okay, I didn't realize that I'd done this, but I see it all coming together now. So what I've done is I cast on the bottom edge. I did make a split hem. So the back is longer than the front, and I'll tell you why I just had that total brain explosion in a minute. I knit up in the round, then I split, and I knit flat, and then I 3 needle bind off each side, and then bound off this in the middle. So like 3 needle bind off separately, 3 needle bind off. Pretty confident that's how I did that. And then I knit the sleeves, picked up and knit the sleeves. Now the reason I just had that moment where I was like, wait, how did I do this? Was because once I had completely finished this, I had decided that I, again, needed a little bit more on the front. And so what I did, and now it's making so much sense to me about why it was so fucking hard to undo, is I actually undid what must have been the cast on edge. And I'm sitting there going, why is this so difficult to do? Like, normally it's really easy, you just rip it out. And I couldn't work out why it was so difficult. And now what I'm realizing as I'm talking to you and why I'm having that little brain moment is what I must have done is actually rip out the cast on edge and knit down rather than knitting up. And I actually, if you had told me that's what I would have had to have done, I actually wouldn't have done it because I wouldn't have thought I could do it. And apparently I did. Which I must admit is like 95% of knitting for me, is thinking something's too hard and then doing it and being like, oh yeah, that wasn't that big of a deal. So that worked great. Now also, in fairness, it is true to say that maybe because this yarn is so fluffy and bobbly and whatever, is that even if normally in real knitting there would have been a line or a join or something where that would have been clear that I had done that, you can't see it. So I didn't even notice I'd done it until I was just trying to describe to you what my process was, which is hilarious. So add that to the list of things that I didn't know I was capable of, but as it turns out, I totally am. And I wore this the other day for the first time, and this is a project. The reason I've gone through all of this effort for telling you how hard it was is because this is a project that I genuinely thought I was disappointed that it was going to sit in my closet and probably never be worn, and I probably wasn't going to be happy with it, and I bought this yarn all the way from fucking Bologna, and it really wasn't going to be what I want. I wore this the other day. It is perfect. It's exactly what I want. I'm going to wear the shit out of it. I love the colour. I love the length of the sleeves. I love the way the body sits. I love the fit. I love the way the neckline goes. I fucking love it. And I really genuinely thought the whole way through, this is just going to be a bit of a dud. And I was so disappointed because I loved this yarn. It's such a great story. It was such an awesome, like I spent all this time, and honestly, this yarn probably cost me all of 40 Australian dollars because of, and it's the core is an acrylic core, but the fluff around it is 100% mohair. Now, it is a discontinued yarn. However, in saying that, if you happen to be in Bologna, if I can find the name of the store for you, they have shit tons of it. So I used 7.5 balls for this, and I still have a half ball to have as like a memento. I just cannot tell you how much I love this. And so forever, this is my Verona sweater. Forever. And yeah. I know, and I say Verona sweater because I know I got it from Bologna, and I knit most of it in Reggio Emilia, and you know, I also then re-knit it twice in Byron Bay. But for me, it's the color of the water in Verona that is just so beautiful. So look, I'll see if I can, I'll post some photos on Instagram. I'm the Serenity Knitting Society on Instagram. If you want to see what this looks like I will post some photos on there, / I'll create a Ravelry page. I have considered writing up like a recipe for this, but I have no ability to grade anything. So all I can do, if you're really, really, really interested in that, I can like maybe do a little video on Instagram about I did this, then I did this, then I did this, then I did this, if you're interested in it. But I suppose what I want to put to you is that, or my offering, I suppose, is like the 2 sweaters recently that I have had the most challenging relationship with, that I have had to rip back, that I've had to have it sit in a corner until they were ready. They are my 2 favorite projects of this year. So my GL sweater and this my Verona sweater, I have worn them so much. And I think it's this concept of like, when I'm and I probably said the same thing in every single video, when I'm fighting the current of creativity, when I'm fighting the current of life, when I'm fighting the current of like where the energy wants to flow into, it's like self-will run riot, you know, like I am just willing. And for me, that is such a distorted energy. And for me, there's like it's like I'm exhausted, you know, I'm exhausted just telling you. For me, it's like this process was it happened through me. And I know that, look, that's not going to suit, not everyone's going to connect with that. I realize that this is a knitting podcast, but you and I both know that the creative process for me is a very spiritual one. And this happened in a very serendipitous, naturally unfolding, like intuitive, listening to how does the yarn want to be knit up? How does this, like, so rather than me picking a pattern and making it fit and doing the things, it was like, right, what is the gauge this wants to be used at? What is the kind of silhouette this wants to be used at? You know, like, and just really not pushing it. So there was a point too where I had like this much of one sleeve left to go, and I didn't finish it for like 3 weeks because I don't know why. It just wasn't calling to me. I had another project, which I'm going to show you. So I suppose my invitation is the knits that I have had the most challenging process with. When I say challenging, I mean I made it challenging. The knits have done nothing. It's me, right? Like the knits that I've tried to self-will, but that I've been willing to kind of engage with at where they're at, which sounds like I'm personifying them, but I think there's like a creative energy. When I work with the creative flow, when I work with the creative energy, they're my favorite finished objects. And I do think that it would have been a real, I would have been sad. I would have been sad to have had such beautiful yarn and a beautiful project and a beautiful potential sit in there in something that I'm never, ever, ever going to use. And I suppose that's my invitation to, like, this stuff is meant to be fun. It's meant to be creative. It's meant to be, you know, a learning process. And that the more that I try and push and make it happen, like, it's not about just like pushing out another sweater or pushing out another project, or, you know, like, and I love a finished object, but for me, these have been a lesson in surrender, creative surrender, and feeling into, yeah, like just letting it do what it is. So I love this sweater. I cannot tell you how much I love this sweater. I fucking love it. Fucking love it. And Buddy slept on it for like 3 days, like blessing it with his energy. I'm like, it was just that because it was a little bit of like damp wool, so I'm not sure it was intentional, but he slept on it while it was blocking, and I think that means he blessed it with his little kidney energy. All right, next finished object. It's still a bit warm. It's so funny. My husband still can't believe that, like, people just sit and listen to me talk. He's like, what do you mean? You just like go on there and talk to yourself for a couple of hours and like people watch it? And I'm like, yeah, sometimes like 1,000 people. Like 1,000 people just come and hang out with me and we look at stuff and it's really nice. Okay. Next finished object. I've been busy, apparently. This is my pretty much a Maxine water bottle. Look at the fluff. By Laura Penrose Knits. Now, when I say pretty much, I'll explain. It is pretty much. When I went to buy this pattern, we've all been there. Look, I don't want to rope you in there with me for my moment of laziness, but I went to buy the pattern. I loved it. I thought it was wonderful. I needed a new one. I thought this is going to be great. I really needed something to occupy my brain. I've had a lot of lifey life going on, so I thought colour work could be really soothing and just like simple, and I just thought this would be lovely. I went to buy the pattern. For whatever reason, it didn't auto-fill my card details, and so I couldn't be fucked to get off the couch and go and get my wallet to go and get my card out. And so I thought, I'm still going to buy the pattern, it's fine, but like, I'll just cast on, work it out, and go from there. So what ended up happening was I did cast on. It was fine. I just like looked up a free how to do that process. But what I really wanted was the color work, right? There's a free pattern. There's lots of free patterns for just plain water bottle covers in a DK weight. So that was fine. I could just do that. And I used the magic cast on, which PS is magical. You can't even, oh, I'm so sorry. There's like little stains on it. Anyway, don't judge me, okay? I have been using this a lot. I'm not the person who's like, I won't use it before I show you. There's just a little bit of honey from my chai tea on the bottom. It doesn't look like I've cast on there, but I had. Isn't that amazing? Again, add it to the list of things I didn't think I could do. So wow, it is sticky. I'm going to have to wash it. That's funny. So I also think you could also stick it in. It's kind of cute too. And so what happened was I forgot that I assumed that I would I assumed probably mildly arrogantly that it would be a 4 or an 8 color work. I just kind of counted them. I went, okay, cool, that'll work. And I just cast on with a 4, like a multiple of 4 or 8. I was wrong. And this is why you should just buy the pattern and just follow the pattern. Because what happened was everything was totally fine. Like it all works, you can see. This row works fine, this row works fine, this row did not work. The numbers did not add up. And so I just made a very similar pattern. It was fine. It was fine. So it's like 95% of a Maxine water bottle by Laura Penrose. Laura's pattern is beautiful. Please buy the pattern. Don't do what I did. It's probably not worth it. But yeah, I was being a bit lazy and I just cast on, and anyway, we made it work. Now, if you're sitting there going, Alex, that's not long enough, I just know. It's why I haven't actually woven in the end, because it's probably not. But I really disliked this cream yarn. It was 100% wool yarn. I just disliked the feel of it. It's 100% wool yarn, but I bought it from Spotlight. It was just in my stash. It actually looks really nice, but I just really hate the way it feels. It just felt kind of like chemically. And I just need like 1 more inch, but do you think I'm going to do it? Let's be honest, probably not. If I'm really frank with you, I probably won't do it. Now these colours in here, I won't be able to tell you all of them, but I can tell you that the blue, well, maybe I can actually, we'll see. The blue, which is here, that's the Biches Bouche Le Petit Lambswool held double in like the light blue green. The rust is the Rauma Final in the like, it's got a code. I won't be able to tell you the code. I won't even be able to find the ball band, but it's like a rusty orange colour. The grey and the like tawny wood smoky colour, they're both keepsake yarns in the grey and in like the tawny wood smoke colour. They're 100% Italian merino, I think. But I got them from Spotlight. And they're not held double because they're already DK. So I held the fingering ones double, and then I just kept the DK single, and then the white, like I said, is just like a really cheap Spotlight colour. I would knit this again. It's beautiful. The pattern was beautiful. It annoys me that this is happening. It's not the pattern's fault. It's just my, you can see that one set of my increases is tighter than the other set. No big deal. Let's be honest, it's mostly just cuddling for me. I think this is a beautiful, I just can't, like, it's beautiful. And I showed a few people, like my mum and my grandmother, and they're like always amazed at my knitting. And I wanted to just explain to them that if you haven't done, and I want to put this out there to you too, if you haven't done colour work before, it looks super complicated. But really all it is it's just like, you knit this one blue, and you knit this one grey, and you knit this 3 blue, and then you knit 1 grey. And you're just following like that pattern. It's not actually super complicated. There's a little bit of tension involved. And with this, what was tricky about this pattern is I knit it on a slightly smaller needle. I think I knit it on a 3.75, I think. And I didn't really have the right setup. Like if I was going to do, I did magic loop, but I think it wasn't quite loopy enough. I don't like doing magic loop, if I'm really honest. I just like to have the circular needle that's the right size. I just really prefer that, but I did it and it's fine. This was more of a product knit. And it was a process. I wanted the colour work, but but there was a point where I was just getting to the end. What I love about colour work is it feels like, potato chippy, where you just kind of like, I want to do another one, I want to do another one, I want to do another one. And this was really fun. It was fun. And it was fun to mix the colours and play with them. And for me, what I love about doing something like this is when my brain, I have a very busy brain. You may or may not be able to guess. I have quite a busy brain, and when I have something that is like really stuck in there, or I'm finding that, you know, processes of like more traditional processes of mindfulness or meditation, it's hard to like bring it down and not kind of stay in the loop of whatever it is that I have going on up there. For me, it's like if I can focus, it's mindfulness. If I can focus my attention on, you know, knit 1, purl 2, knit 1, purl 2, or whatever it is, or, you know, knit 3, like it's like my attention is so focused and absorbed. I have the direction and attention on whatever that is. It's kind of like I can give my brain the space to just focus on that. And I find it like a self-regulatory exercise. And it really helps to like, yeah, just kind of create a positive focus rather than when, I mean, for me, when because I love just plain stockinette knitting. I've got a project here that's just that, right? And for me, that's meditative in the way that it's like the repeat. I actually don't have to think when I'm doing it. I could read, I could listen, I could, you know, podcast, whatever it is. And, Whereas for me, this is about the intentional concentration on something. And it's normally, I'll employ this when it's like, I have, thinking about that thing is probably not really going to get me anywhere. It's just kind of like, okay, that's there, it's going to be there, whatever it is. Let's just bring the attention back to something creative. And you get a really snuggly water bottle out of it. So that was really nice. And I do use these a lot. Look, it's not minus 40 degrees like it is in Canada here, but it does get very cold. And yeah, it's autumn here, but it's like cold enough, and we've had a lot of rain recently. So even the time I've been sitting here, the weather has changed quite significantly. I don't know if the lighting's changed, but it's pretty intense. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. I think my only thing that I would do next time is I would actually use yarns that I probably enjoy a little bit more, although I do think this was a really great way to use up these scraps. It was really, really effective. And like I said, if it's really going to annoy you about the top, you could always knit it slightly shorter and just tuck it in. But I'm okay with it. I can live with it. It's, you know, it's the good enough water bottle. He's still cute. All right, let's get on to some whips. Whew. I'm going to pause this in probably like 15 minutes because I have an appointment to go to, and then if I have to come back, I will. I'd rather do that than try and rush this next little bit. So where are we at with the whippers? I've gotten quite a way through my half and half wrap. In fact, I'm pretty much half way through. So I can't remember what I showed you last time. I'm pretty sure I only had one colour. Let me just get it all sorted. I am now, can you see any of that? I am now approximately I'm pretty much halfway through. I did an online, oops. I've just paused to tell me I have low power. This is going to be great. I had an online workshop and I got a lot of this done. This is huge. I'm convinced it's too big. When I say too big, way bigger than it's meant to be. Hard to tell. But it is freaking huge. So it is Pearl Soho's half and half triangles wrap, but the stripy version. I'm using 6 colours. I don't remember what they're called, guys. This one's called Rose Quartz. This one is, I'm pretty sure, Oatmeal Grey. And this one is whatever the really dark green is. I love the dark green. It's actually probably the softest of all the colours. And I really love it, which is funny because I think someone else said that was more not soft. It was the least soft of the other ones. So I have, this is going to be one side, and then I actually did go and buy some more. I have some acquisitions, which I will probably show at some point. Actually, well, to be honest, they're just going to be, they're not going to be really shown, they're just going to be as part of what the projects I'm making because I'm already using them all. So it's not really an acquisition section. It's just like what I'm using for the projects. But, so I'm going to use these as this side, and then what I'm going to do is I've still got plenty of this rose quartz colour, so I'm going to use that as some of the stripes down this end to kind of like tie them together. But then on this side, the second side, I have these. So this is the colourway Lavender Opal. You will see I have a thing for purple at the moment. I'm having a thing. I've got the beautiful Kettle Black, which is just, I know it's black, but like, wow, I don't know. And Pale Oats. Now, I do have some concerns about the fact that these two, if I was to block them, that if I was to block them, that they are going to run. I have a little bit of a fear about that. I am putting my faith in the fact that this is a commercial yarn and that maybe not. I just think that these are going to be fun. And like, if we think about the fact that there's going to be a little bit of this in there too, I think that with all of those together, if we just try and like hold that up, I think that that's going to be a neutral enough palette that I'm hoping I'm still going to wear it. I like the fact, I was really on the fence about this. I felt like there needed to be another dark colour to balance the dark green. Otherwise, I thought it was going to be all kind of washed out and then really intense. So I'm going to use this one to be the stripe, the diagonal stripe. And what I'm hoping is, it's my genuine hope, because honestly, I'm not sure if I can undo this one. I just don't know if I've got it in me. / I don't know if I've got the skill to undo the, what are they called? The German short rows. Fuck. I'm hoping that this is going to create a grounding, like that diagonal is going to be grounding, and some of those stripes on either end are going to be really grounding. And then I'm thinking that maybe I might do the grey maybe in the middle, because that's going to be next to the that colour. I think that that's going to work really well. And then have this as like these like stripies. We'll see. I'm just going to keep going with it. I'm surprised by how quickly I've gotten this amount done. But it's also been very stagnant for at least a few weeks, because I haven't skeined these up to actually do that. So that could be a job for today, but we'll see. I've got a lot on today. So I'm really happy with this. I quite enjoy actually working with this yarn, and it's really interesting to me because I feel like I've gravitated towards these really chunky yarn projects with the idea of getting them done quickly. And part of my intention was this year to have less, what's the least controversial way to say this? I feel like I have this like, okay, just throw this out if you don't like it. I felt this feeling of like capitalist, consumerist, produce. And it was like, for me, like I really felt like this sense of like, I just want to get it done. I just want to get it done. I just want to get it done. And if there's one thing that I feel, and there's lots of things, but if there's one thing that I feel like that this knitting is teaching me, and this craft in general, right? Like, it is a slow process. And sometimes knits fly off your needles, and that's okay. Like, I'm not in any way, shape or form dishonoring the desire to get something done, because I have a few, you know, like, and I love it. I'm not at all dissing it. I suppose what I'm noticing in myself is this sense of like production for the sake of production, and almost like a disconnect or a disassociation, let's say, between me and my knitting. And I feel like I don't want to not knit something beautiful because it's going to take me a long time. And I just think like what else am I going to, like, I love knitting. Let's knit. If it's going to take me 2 years to finish the whatever sweater I'm knitting, like, and I think I was really inspired by, there's a beautiful bunch of girls who have been knitting the twig sweater. So Jackie, Carmen, Lily, and I think there was a whole bunch of other people, but I can't remember them. And, but there's like a whole bunch of people who are doing these like toothpick knits, and they're just stunning. And I just sit there going, you know, like, what's the rush? Like, what's the rush? It's a bit like me trying to learn Italian. It's the most complicated. It's really hard to learn, and it's particularly hard to learn when you don't have anyone to speak with, but I've got my whole life to work it out. Like, there's a beautiful lady who lived in the apartment above me, and she was an English woman. I never actually met her, but I heard about her a lot. She'd been living in Italy for years, and she still couldn't speak great Italian. So it's like a pretty complicated language, and you know, it's okay. There's no rush. I got my whole life. So I feel like with this stuff, it's like, okay, it'll get there, and then I'll probably cast on another one. But that's where I'm at with it. Which leads me into my next project, which is, where did it go? Here. It's my most recent cast on. I've got one more whip, but this is my most recent cast on, but I think it's an example of how I'm putting this into practice. So when I ordered the Pearl Soho stuff, they were doing a 20% off sale, and I actually have really had a great experience with Pearl Soho yarns. I've had not so awesome experiences with commercial yarns in general, but I really like everything I've ever ordered from Pearl Soho. I really don't have any complaints. I think my only mild mention would be, it is very hard, and I've had a few mishaps, I suppose, with ordering yarn online, because you're not going to be able to see, obviously, in person, things shift and change. However, living in Australia, and particularly living quite remotely, I don't have access to a lot of yarn stores in person. So I've ordered a lot of yarn, and I think it's just kind of, and you know, I would say most of it is fine. Every once in a while you get a few misses and things that don't quite suit, and that's okay. But like, generally speaking, but for me, Pearl Soho has been pretty much a winner. Like, I feel really happy with it. And when you get, I know I said this last time, but when you find that they do a 20% off sale, the prices become very close to what an Australian dollar would be at 20% off. So it's like, if it's normally $20 US, it comes down off 20%. That means that it actually is close to approximately the original price. And I say approximately, please don't quote me on this, do your maths, but approximately what it originally was. Because of the way that the numbers kind of work out, it seems to be still pretty affordable. And yeah, you pay about $18 shipping, but again, it all comes out in the wash for me. That's just my opinion, do your own maths. Long story short, I'm saying that a lot today. I bought a sweaters quantity, and quite a big sweaters quantity, of the Good Wool, which is a DK weight. Actually, is it sport? It is, it's sport. 380, well, I don't know. It says it's 383 yards. 800 yards. But it also says that you should knit it on a 4mm needle, so which is normally more of a, anyway, do what you will with it. This is in the colourway Blue Moon. Isn't it beautiful? Now, you're seeing it quite, oh no, that's pretty close. You're seeing it quite purple. I would say it is very much a purpley blue. But in comparison to like, this is a true purple I'm going to hold up. So see that, that's a true purple, and this is more of like a bluey purple. It's beautiful, it's very soft. And it has a really nice, it's got a twist to it, you can see, I'll tell you. But it's very plumpy. So I did a swatch. I know, who am I? That is nice. I did a swatch. This is with a 4mm needle in stockinette. It wasn't in the round. I know you meant to, but I didn't do it. I was just happy with the fact that it is a swatch. It's very, very, very soft. And it has almost like the texture of, I don't know the exact constitution, but it reminds me of, it's a very soft, rusticy wool, but very soft. I wouldn't call it rustic. I would just say it's like a non-superwash wool. It's very, very, very soft. And it is, I'm pretty sure it's 100% wool. Yeah, Andean Highland wool. It's fucking beautiful. It reminds me a little bit of the feel of it, not the construction, but the feel of it reminds me of Brooklyn Tweed Loft. It's not the same construction. I don't think it's not woolen spun, but it has that same kind of airy feel to it. That's just my opinion. So I've cast on 4. I've only got an edge, so you're not going to see very much. You're going to be like, what is this pattern? See, you'll have no clue. I've cast on for a pink fizz. I've wanted to knit a pink fizz for 1,000 bajillion years. I think it is the most beautiful. It's by Andrea Mowry. I think it's the most beautiful fucking pattern. I am a little intimidated by the lace, if I'm really honest with you. I don't know how that's going to go. It's knit with a mohair and a fingering or sport held double. No, held together. So like a fingering, no, sorry, a sport and a mohair for a DK weight gauge. I did the swatch. I know it's not in the round, but the swatch came out to the same gauge. And I've seen a lot of ones on Ravelry. One of the favorite things I love about Ravelry is looking at projects and seeing the different yarns that people have used. And I saw one that somebody had done, a pink fizz. They actually did it in like a tweedy Highlandy wool. And it was beautiful. And the stitch definition, in a magical ideal world, I would love to do the exact same sweater that Andrea Mowry is wearing. I want the same colors. I want the same, like I want that exact sweater. But when I looked into it, the yarn they used is a La Bien-Aimée, which you know I love. But I was looking at it and it was like, to buy the sport, the amount of sport and the amount of mohair, it was going to cost me over $350. And right now, I had purchased a lot of yarn. And I just thought, you've got a lot of yarn. And so I just thought, I'm going to try this. I'm just going to try it. I'm going to do a whole lot of ribbing. So whatever I end up knitting with this, it's absolutely going to have the same cast on. Like it's going to be a split hem with a double rib, whatever, and knit up. But maybe not. I might rip it out and because my other backup for this is if this doesn't work, I'm going to knit the Birkin sweater. That's what I'm going to do with white colour work. But I'm gonna just try. I'm gonna start with the lace. I'm gonna see what happens. I'm gonna see if I like the texture. I'm gonna see if I like the fabric. Right now, I am a little concerned that this is like, it's fine. It's very messy. I could go down a needle size. I'm inclined to block it first. I'm tempted to block it right now and not make myself do 9 centimeters of ribbing before I block it. I just want to make sure this is going to be a bit tidier. For me, this sweater is such a beautiful sweater. I love it so much. I think the silhouette's going to suit me really, really great, that if I'm going to do this, I'm fucking doing it properly. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to have one where I'm like, oh, it would have been better if only. If I'm going to do all of that lace, if this doesn't work, I would actually rather wait and spend the whatever amount of money I need to get the right combination. I'll buy it for my birthday. Like, I'll save up. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not doing all of that lace to end up with a product I'm not happy with. I'm just not. So this is in the same vein as, I have a lot of these. I have like, I think I have more than 1,500 yards of this. So I've got plenty. I can knit basically whatever I want, which is unusual for me because as a bigger human being, I normally don't order enough yarn. So with this, because it was so cheap, I think it worked out at like 12 bucks or something. Americans, probably like 15-ish bucks Australian or something. I just ordered plenty. And I thought, you know what? You can knit whatever you want, babe. Like, you want to knit fisherman's rib, you want to knit brioche, you want to knit whatever, you do it. So I've decided as I've talked to you, what I'm going to do is I'm going to block this. I'm going to see how it goes. This is the back edge. I'm trying to make sure there's enough ease, because with this silhouette, because it's a boxy, and the way that the lace panels go down either side, you don't want it to be too close in. You kind of want to make sure there's enough drape on it. Anyway, I'm just going to see how it goes. I'm going to do this. If I block this and like the way the ribbing's looking, I'll continue. I'll do the lace. I'll do a panel of the lace across. I'll have to have the whole thing cast on, but I'll do like a decent section of the lace. I'll block it. I'll see how I'm happy with the fabric. I'll see how I'm happy with the stitch definition, and then I'll decide whether I'm going to continue with it. And I'm fully happy to rip it out if I need to. Like, I don't want to spend. It's a more intensive project. And it can take as long as it takes, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Yeah. Any other suggestions for that? I'm fully open to it. So if you've got any ideas, let me know. And that's it. Okay, let's keep going. I am knitting another fleur. I bought, as a full impulse buy, this beautiful mohair from Love and Speckles, which is an Australian company. It's called Twilight. 72% mohair, 28% silk. This is the nicest mohair I've used other than the Sonder Yarn Co. I think it's very similar construction. I don't know where she gets this shit from, but it is so nice. She's called Tarina Knits on Instagram. This is lovely. This is lovely. Now what happened was, I bought this. I bought the matching... what's that stuff called? Singles, which actually I couldn't find today. I bought a matching singles. The singles, it's important for you guys to know, because I didn't know this and it was my fault, that things take the dye differently. So the singles were beautiful. This, because of it being a mohair, was more dusky. The singles, it's the same color. She's dyed it perfectly. It has more of a vibrancy to it. And so when I paired them together, I was getting like more bubblegummy pink, and it wasn't, this is pretty bubblegummy pink, but it was very, very saturated, and it wasn't quite what I wanted. It's a beautiful color. I really, really loved it. It wasn't quite what I wanted for the project. And so I feel like it's fine. I'm going to use it for something else. No biggie. This color is the exact kind of pink, but slightly purpley that I wanted. Now I had happened to, while I was ordering all of this stuff, I really wanted to try the Pearl Soho quartz. It's 65% merino, 35% Suri alpaca. And I bought it in the colorway Lavender Moon. Now, can you see I have a theme? Moons. I just love moons. So I've actually had to think, if I do that, if this blue moon one works out, my goddess for the year is Anuket. She's the goddess of the Nile, goddess of open arms. That was given to me through Jackie. She gifted it to me. but it was an Amy Palco goddess reading. If you don't know anything about that, go check them out. If you don't know Amy Palco, what are you doing? I mean that with love, not judgment, but like, go check her out. She's just like, she's a magical woman. I just think she's wonderful. She's like my fairy godmother. Who doesn't know that she's my fairy godmother? That's going to be like my Anuket sweater. Oh, anyway, we'll get there when we get there. Moons. So, what was I going with that? Now I'm busy thinking about goddesses. Oh yeah, so I had this. Now originally I had bought 3 skeins of this. My intention was to knit the boho blush. You need quite a lot of yarn for that. This was on sale, ended up being pretty cheap, and I thought this is going to be nice. I still want to do that, so I might order more because I like that sweater. But I like that sweater. I like that shawl, but I also really know it's a crescent shawl, and I wasn't 100% sure that the shape of it was going to work for me because I'm very, very picky when it comes to the way that a shawl works. And what I ended up doing is I ended up swatching these 2 together, and I ended up getting the most luscious freaking fabric for this fleur. So let me just detangle it all. I wanted a pink fleur. I know I've knit a few of them. Oh, it's upside down. I know I knit a few of them. This will be my 4th. Oh, guys. I wanted a pink one. 3rd, 4th. Anyway, whatever. I've knit a few. Guys. This fabric is just... And I want to put this 100% down to this Love and Speckles mohair. It is, if you're in Australia, run, don't walk. Like, run, don't walk. It is so luscious. And what I like about it is it's different to, I originally wanted to use a singles, like a single ply yarn, with silk in it, because I love the way that my original Sonder Yarn Co. one is like glossy and silky, and like it's got like almost a liquidity, that's not a word, but you know what I mean, to it. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about this when I did it. It's because it's not as, it still glows, but it's not as shiny, metallic as the other one, I suppose. I still love it. It's just a bit more matte. But the colour for me is a really beautiful pink. It's that pinky purple. And what I knew with this one from an intention point of view is I have been feeling very, very deeply. I've really deepened into this, into my meditation practice. I must admit, in the last week it's been a little flat. Totally, obviously on my part, not the meditations. But when I went to Bali, I purchased a beautiful bronze statue. Oh, I should go get it. I have to go very shortly. Maybe I'll get it if I have to, because I'm going to pause, then I'll come back. Maybe I'll try and remember to bring it. But I bought a bronze statue of Parvati, who is a Hindu goddess, and it's beautiful. And part of her, now I want to be really clear, I don't know very much. I have much more of an understanding of Greek mythology than I do of Hindu mythology. I'm learning. So by all means, if I get something wrong, feel free to let me know. My understanding of Parvati is that she's the embodiment of divine feminine, and she also integrates masculine. So she's kind of like that sacred union that happens between her and her consort, but that also part of that is embodied in her. So it's like that concept of a sacred union. And so, and it's looking at the ways that kind of those masculine and feminine exist both within us, regardless of whether you identify as any type of human being, but how those energies play within us, right? But my understanding too is that one of her primary kind of like archetypal things to feel into is this concept of devotion. And for me, this has been a real part of my practice recently, is this kind of like, like genuine devotion to something greater than myself, coming to like that feminine energy, to life, to navigating the challenges of life, navigating healing, navigating those internal landscapes. And, you know, that real devotion to that path, you know, and that it's not I don't know, to me, to be devoted to something is that it's not easy, but I'm here, you know, and it's like a real love and reverence for that way that life is unfolding. And I suppose, you know, I have shared that life has been very lifey, and I'm not going to go into the specifics, but part of my process has been around, okay, how can I be in the flow, in the devotion, in the energetic, in the willingness to like go towards whatever my soul is, however this is unfolding, you know, that everything is unfolding as it's meant to be in divine timing. So anyway, that's my more spiritual practice, but this concept is around devotion and the feminine, the real feminine essence of it is divine. And so Amy Palko talks about shawls being a portable sacred space. And so for me, I've been really intentional that when I am knitting on this, that it is, because it's so beautiful, luscious in your hands too. Like, it is like an experience. So this is not the one that I'm knitting on when I'm just mindlessly watching a lecture, or like, this is the one that I've got the meditation music on. I am, you know, like, I've got my candles lit. Sometimes I have been watching podcasts, but this is like I am here in devotion and service to like myself, my energy, love, the warmth, you know, like this is it. And so this has been like a spiritual practice in itself. And I would say I'm very close. I'm now up to my second last bubble row. So if you guys are familiar with a fleur, there's a bubble row, there's like 4 things and another bubble row, and I'm done. I'll have heaps of yarn left over. Heaps. I have only got, this is my first ball of each. I have a whole other skein of this, and I have 2 of this. I think I might make a cute little beanie with just this one by itself. I'm thinking about knitting a beanie with that. Or potentially, there's enough difference in colour, like it's not the same. I could order a couple more skeins of this and knit something in this too. This would also make a fucking beautiful pink fizz, but it's not thick enough. But I think this could be beautiful for a garment as well. Yeah. Guys, I really love that one. I really love that one. Okay. Last 2 things. Maybe I'll post a photo of my Parvati statue. Last 2 things. Very, very quickly, some acquisitions / questions. It's more of a question, to be honest. So if you really hate acquisitions, if you feel like you could stay and just help me answer this question, that'd be great. The one thing I wanted to show you very, very quickly was I got a plain singles that I had that was like naturally dyed. No, it was undyed. And I dyed it myself, and I just wanted to show you. I just got some fun dyes from my local Spotlight, and I've got 800 meters of this. If you have any ideas of what I could do with this, I keep wanting to hold things with mohair, but the issue is I keep ordering mohair that doesn't match the thing, so I have to buy more yarn. Oh no. But you know what I mean. Anyone have any ideas for this? I have 800 meters. If you have any ideas, I just like the fact that I dyed it myself. It's a beautiful, like, pinky purpley. It's more kind of purple than pink, grey purple. Tell me if you have any thoughts. But speaking of, wow, that's a loud dog. I don't know if you can hear that. Speaking of, I want to cast on a Nutidin. This is a swatch I made. I ordered some Nutidin from, not this last one, the one before. Now, I don't know the names of them. I know this one is Frenesi, which I'm definitely saying wrong. Beautiful. I can't remember what this one's called. They are very similar. This one is obviously much more saturated. This one is kind of purple, but more muted. Now, I only have 300 grams of each. Wow, yeah, they look way more different. I mean, I suppose they are in person too. However, when you swatch them together, you get this. I am on the fence, very much so. I could knit, I mean, it's very pretty now that I'm holding it up for you. I was a little on the fence about it. I'm thinking about knitting a 2x2 rib collar and, you know, all the other stuff. Turtleneck, big, oversized, snuggly AF by holding them double. I'm worried, this Frenesi colour is just amazing. I'm worried I'm losing that. I feel like it brightens this colour. See how it's not quite that? It's brightening it. I started knitting an autumn tails shawl with the Frenesi. I'm not happy with it. See how it's just, it's not the shawl I have the issue with. I think it's that this particular blend is not really doing what I want it to do. I think it's too thin. I think it needs to be held double. Okay, truth time. I agree with this, but I was talking about it with Jackie, and she's right. It needs to be held double, and it needs stockinette, I think. So I'm gonna undo this. It's fine. I don't mind. But I still want purple. So I'm thinking with this swatch, it's beautiful. It's on a 5mm needle, which is my favorite gauge. I could make a really beautiful, chunky, knitted in sweater. Thoughts? Ideas? Concepts? Metaphors? And I do want to carry over. Hecate was the goddess that was coming to me for these colours. Oh, I can hear a hawk. Maybe that's a sign. Oh, I love that. I don't know if you could hear it. Probably not. You can probably just hear the dog barking. But I really like the idea of having a big purple sweater. I like the fact that it'll go well with like black jeans. Oh God, I have 5% going. We're almost done. I've just decided we're going to finish very shortly. But yeah, I feel like this is going to be good. I'm not 100% sure. And if you have an idea or if you have a pattern, I can draft one. It's not that hard. I can take a similar pattern. I've looked at some ones by my favorite things knitwear, which I just love, and Ozetta, which I love too. There's one called, I think it's called I'm going to mispronounce this terribly. I think it's called the Eun, E-U-N sweater, which I'm inclined to do. This could be really beautiful on its own, held with a mohair. This one could be held single. I'm really sure it's a much more robust blend. Did I tell you this is knitted in? I'm sure I did. This one, it's just not doing it. I love the colour, but the blend is more fragile, and I think that it needs to be held double or with a friend. Now, I could look at doing a Sunday morning shrug with this. I have some concerns that I won't wear it, / it will be, I can hold it double, but that it will be too loose. Like, it'll stretch because of how drapey I believe that this is going to be. I'm inclined to just stick these together, make a really beautiful, drapey, long line. Tell me your thoughts. I have no decisions. Now I have 2 of these. This is Alchemy. I could do some colour work. So still have these together, or maybe even have these, like this colour work. With a geol or something, but with the colour work in it. I'm more inclined for this. I've got 2 of these. I think that these are going to be the basis for some colour work. I actually looked at doing, there's this sweater, the Maya sweater, and it's a free sweet pattern. It has a whole bunch of different colours. I've seen it done in knitted in. I have a lot of different knitted in colours now. Some of it, I had one gifted to me beautifully by Lily from Curatorial Knits. I've got Yara. I've got these guys. I've got this guy. I could buy another one. I will. I love these plumpy loaves. Like, look at that. Far out. I think that's going to be my, that should be my what's the thing called? Thumbnail. I love the plumpy loaves. They're just adorable. Again, I'm not going to force any of this. I'm not going to force it, but there are, this one is like opalescent, like mother of pearl, and there's bits of purple in this that would pick up the purple in here. Let me know your thoughts. I'm just going to let it percolate. I'm not going to push anything. This is pretty though. It's kind of mild. All right, let's all just consider it together, hey? All right, I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna go to my appointment, and then I'm going to do all the things I have to do today. Thanks for hanging out with me. And if you wanna just say hi, or if you've got any ideas, and wow, there's a lot of yarn here, please let me know, and come hang out with me on the Instagrams. I post lots of photos of cats. Let's be honest, it's almost more of a catstagram than knitting, but I do post knitting on there too. All right, lots of love to you guys, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.